So the Apple Watch Series 6 has just hit the UK, and if you've got one of those iPhone jobbies stashed in your bag or your pants, then it's still one of the best smartwatch options around. But of course, like all Apple kit, this wee blighter remains about as affordable as one of Elvis's teeth. So the Series 6 will cost you from a rather eye-watering £379 if you just want the basic Wi-Fi and Bluetooth model, and if you want a bit of cellular support chucked in as well that'll be £479, thank you very much. Otherwise, you can also grab this wrist rocket from the likes of Vodafone for £27 a month if you want to spread the payments. But is it actually worth that cash? Well, I've been rocking the Apple Watch Series 6 on my wrist for a while now, and here's my full in-depth review. And for more on the latest greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers. So first up, the Apple Watch Series 6 is available in either 40 or 44mm flavours to suit all wrist sizes, and the functionality thankfully stays the same whichever size you grab, just to keep things nice and simple. As well as the size selection, you can also choose between aluminium, stainless steel or titanium casings, and if you go for one of the latter pair, then you'll also get some sapphire glass slathered over that display in order to give it a bit of extra hardiness. Definitely a very good plan if you're one of those outdoor adventuring types. My review model is just the aluminium version, which you also get a selection of vibrant colours like red and blue. Unfortunately, you don't get those colour options with them more premium titanium and stainless steel efforts, and also the price rises rather sharply. If you want a titanium Apple Watch, that'll cost you from £750, basically the same price as a premium smartphone. And for anyone who's checking, that's also twice the price of the titanium Huawei Watch GT2 Pro. But as I mentioned, I just had the aluminium model with that simple sleek black finish, and while the aesthetics haven't really changed up at all in many years, I still like the look of this wrist rocket, from the subtle screen curve to that pleasingly thin finish. And the Apple Watch Series 6 is also, as usual, water resistant up to a depth of 5 atmospheres, that's around 50 meters, although Apple says do not take it into the sea because the seawater will probably balk it. It's more for your swimming in an actual pool. And as usual, you can fully customize the Apple Watch by whipping off that band and sticking something different on, like a fabric band if you're a bit of a hippie, or a leather band if you want to pretend like you're actually going out for the evening with friends, like it's 2019 and everything only sucks a little bit rather than really hard. As usual, Apple has absolutely nailed that Retina display as well, which is now brighter than ever, so you can clearly see everything, even in super bright daylight. Not that that would be much of an issue in the UK for the coming months anyway. Because it's OLED tech, of course, you get that nice sharp contrast with the really deep blacks, the nice punchy colours as well, which is great when you're flicking through menus and using apps. And at long last, you also get an always-on display watch face, which is switched on by default, and this is very easy to see in ambient light, while a quick tap lights the morpho up when you're outdoors or want to do more than just check the time and your steps count. You once again have loads of watch faces to choose from, including all classics and that handy Siri face and funky shit like whatever this is. And as usual, Apple's watchOS interface is very easy to get on with and gives you fast access to all of your apps and those main features, although as usual things can be a bit jittery when you're using the touchscreen. And sometimes in various apps, when I'm trying to tap a really small menu option, I find that I do have to poke it sort of 3 or 4 times before it finally registers, especially if it's right on the edge of the screen. Thankfully, the scrolling experience is much smoother when using the rotating dial, so I just stuck to that whenever possible. Notifications worked well on the Apple Watch Series 6, although they can be a little bit slow in popping up detailed information when you actually tap on one. Sometimes we're talking 2 or 3 seconds here, just long enough to make you wonder if that tap actually worked. And I certainly have no complaints when it comes to the haptics. You can choose between a nice subtle, gentle little rumble or a full-on violent arm tremor if you really want to be notified of stuff. Our great mate Siri can be called on at any point as well by pressing in the crown for a second or so, or just by saying the usual wake command. Well, sometimes Siri will just occasionally randomly and unexpectedly pop to life all on its own accord, usually when you're sat chilling out in a nice quiet room. And using the voice assistant was not a problem at any time. Even in a really noisy environment, that mic clearly picked up my commands absolutely perfectly, while the speaker is nice and loud too. Sing me a song.
Okay, if you insist, and my head I'd be scratching, while my thoughts were busy hatching, if I only had a, hey, wait a second.
Well, you get the idea. And of course, as usual, you can use that mic and speaker built into the watch to actually take calls on your wrist if you don't mind looking like a bit of a mentalist. And Apple Pay can be accessed with just a quick double tap of that bottom button, and this also worked a charm. Very handy indeed these days when you want to be as hands off as possible, just tap and bugger off, job done. And as usual, you also got a great selection of fitness tools and features to play around with, certainly for someone like me who's just sort of casually, mildly interested in not turning it into a flabby, disgusting mess. You got your usual 24-hour heart rate monitoring, which is good for checking your stress levels, as well as monitoring your recovery rates after a particularly grueling bit of exercise, like for instance trudging down the stairs to go for a nice long wee. And like all recent smartwatches, the Apple Watch Series 6 can also measure your blood oxygen levels, which in turn can help to possibly diagnose any health problems that might need checking up on. And this seems to work almost as well as on other smartwatches as well, although you do have to be absolutely 100% still for it to take an accurate reading. You also have a new ECG app which checks your heart rhythm just to make sure there's no irregularities there. And fair play to Apple, they have acknowledged that yes, it's not a dedicated medical tool or anything like that, but you know, it's there for a bit of extra reassurance, and if it does happen to clue in just a handful of people that they might have some sort of condition that needs checking out, then it's definitely worthwhile. You can start a workout at any time manually, while the watch also will detect if you're getting a sweat on and automatically starts recording your stats after just a couple of minutes. The Apple Watch Series 6 doesn't support quite as many different exercise types as the Huawei watches, but to be fair, pretty much anything you could need is on there, including the likes of skiing and golfing, which those Huawei watches only just got. As usual, you got your built-in GPS for tracking all of your motions, and the Apple Watch Series 6 also has a built-in altimeter so you can see how many hills you've merrily trotted over. And yes, if you're one of those show-offy types, you can share all of your fantastic stats with your great mates and family members and just give them one more reason to delete you permanently from their contacts. You've also now got a sleep tracking feature, which I've never really seen the point in, and here it is proper bare bones, basically just telling you how long you've slept for. Whoopie-dee-doo. But for some reason, when the Apple Watch detects that you're just being relatively still in the evenings, it basically just assumes that you're tucked up with Teddy. So therefore, when I check my stats, it looks like I've spent about 10-11 hours in bed every night. But at least the built-in alarm is proper good at rousing you gently from your slumber in the mornings. That is, as long as you're actually wearing the Apple Watch and not charging it overnight. More on that in a bit. For music lovers, where you got full app support for Spotify, Deezer and other popular streaming services, so you can control all of your tunes on your phone from your wrist. And you've also got 32 gigs of built-in storage on the Apple Watch Series 6 as well for syncing up your music, your podcasts, your audiobooks and taking them on the go while you leave your phone behind. But that only works with Apple's own services like Apple Music. As for the battery life, well, that remains the Apple Watch's true weakness. Even in the Series 6 model, you won't stretch through 2 full days of use. That basically means you'll be charging it up every night unless you're happy to go without it for a couple of hours at some point during the day. But if that's going to be a problem for you, no worries, there are plenty of alternatives out there that go for much longer. The TicWatch Pro 3 will go for 4 full-on intensive days on a single charge. The Huawei watch will last you at least a week, all the way up to about 2 weeks depending on how much you're using those features. Oh, and even though the Apple Watch Series 6 supports standard wireless charging, you'll have to use the Apple Watch charger that comes bundled in the box. I tried a variety of other Qi wireless chargers and not a single bloody one of them worked. So that right there is my full final review on the Apple Watch Series 6 after using it as my full-time smartwatch. And if you've got a previous Apple Watch, there's not really a huge amount of incentive to upgrade to this version. And don't forget, of course, there's also the new Watch SE, which is available, which trims some of those new features that you'll find in the Series 6, but still packs a lot of that standard Apple Watch functionality. But if you've also been using the Apple Watch Series 6 or indeed the Apple Watch SE, it'd be great to hear your own thoughts down in the comments below. Please do poke, subscribe and ding that notifications bell if you haven't already, and have yourselves a lovely rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you!